Welcome back, Couch Company crew. I am John, here with Tyler as always.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm great. And today, we got a lot to talk about.
We do.
First of all, you know what I'm in the mood for?
What are you in the mood for?
I'm in the mood for some fucking pizza.
So you mean the best food in the world?
The best food in the world. Is that confirmed, or is there like a committee that does that?
Well,
I mean, eventually it will be Couch Company. So Couch Company will be coming out with definitive lists of anything.
Absolutely.
Check out our list of best shooters of all time, first-person shooters of all time.
Right.
I don't know if we did a list. I think it was just, we were like,
we talked through it.
Fun.
It's the best multiplayer shooter, I guess.
Eventually, down the road, though, we will be getting those out. We have, the soup one wasn't even a fucking list either. We just talked about
I couldn't actually remember if we actually did the soup one or
we said
or
French
not.
onion's definitely our favorite.
Yeah.
But we talked about it a lot. Like, we were debating whether chili is a soup, because then that's just OP, right? Like, that's...
Right, that just wins.
It's like, do you allow steroids in baseball? Well, okay.
I mean, it makes it more interesting that way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a stew, a soup. I love stew.
Right.
Like, beef stew's great.
So what pizza are you looking at?
Okay, so specifically pizza toppings.
Okay.
So just like a regular pizza, because there's different kinds of pizzas as well, like flatbread and shit like that. But
yeah, so what's our baseline? Like, what are we putting these toppings on? Are you saying these toppings need to be across all pizzas?
Best pizza toppings across all pizzas.
Okay.
So they got to be, flexible, I guess.
Flexible.
Yeah. Now, I know that your theory on pizza, I think you wrote a thesis on this a couple years back.
I did. It's been almost 8 years since I wrote that.
Yeah, right.
Actually.
You presented that at UCLA. I remember that.
Yeah,
big day.
They did not appreciate it.
Well, that's because you were making the argument that like buffalo chicken pizza is not a real pizza.
Well,
it's more of a
I still hold that.
That's what I'm saying. So
sandwich.
if I'm trying to argue that chicken is the best pizza topping, you might credit that as invalid.
Right. And the problem is I couldn't understand if they were just mad that I crashed like into just some auditorium. I don't even know what they were speaking on.
Yeah, I mean,
some professor
when you
was
go
talking
into when you go into a physics lecture,
physics one? Yeah,
and talk about pizza, gets a little dicey.
I feel like it's related somehow.
Pizza is made of matter.
Yeah,
matter is physics.
Right.
Physics. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's easy.
And in conclusion, flatbread open face sandwich is a buffalo chicken pizza. Here's the thing.
Okay.
With pizza, you have to have a good crust. I think actually
Sure.
I'm on the side of a crust makes the pizza, which I know is kind of nuts, but the taste of the crust, that's going to be that's your foundation, right? Like that's the thing that makes a good pizza.
I don't think it makes it a good pizza. I think it's essential.
How do you eat a pizza? Let me talk about this one. So, do you eat it crust
person?
First? Yeah,
No.
right. So exactly. So you start with the triangle is going into you, right?
Right.
So you end on crust. It's the last thing. It's the aftertaste. Exactly.
Yeah.
So to me, the crust is what.
Let me tell you about this game called Mass Effect.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Ding ding.
Ding ding. Yeah. I don't know if that counts, right? Like you have to weave it in. Go ahead and weave it.
I am weaving it
in.
Okay,
weave
because
it in. Yeah,
the ending to that is not great.
Okay.
But it's still an amazing game. So therefore, if you're putting that into pizza logic, if the pizza was that good, imagine Mass Effect 2 is that middle of the pizza.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That middle is pretty good.
So Mass Effect 3 is the crust of a pizza. So you don't like the crust is what you're saying.
No, I love crust.
Okay. So
I'm just not saying that like that's not the only thing.
Oh, it's definitely not the only thing. And like obviously we're going to get to toppings.
Well, you're saying that's the most important part. I disagree with that.
I think that's the best foundation. If you have a bad crust, I feel like you are starting at an extreme disadvantage.
Is crust just like the end? Or do you count that as the underbelly as well?
It's the underbelly too.
Okay,
yeah,
then
it puts the flavor throughout the entire thing.
I'm totally more on board with that because man, a good a charred underbelly of a pizza. Is that the correct terminology?
Yeah, the charred underbelly of a pizza. Delicious.
The charred underbelly.
Here's the thing, though. Like, if you have a bad crust, like, you are starting at an extreme disadvantage, right? Like, if it's soggy...
a bad crust is going to be fucking bad.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So, a good crust is going to start you off...
just because you don't have an amazing crust doesn't mean you can't have a good piece of pizza.
Absolutely. I just think that all the best pizzas, if you were to rate them, I bet you they have amazing crust.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. I mean, you gotta have good attention to detail.
I'm being very just direct and resolute on my decision here. But here's the thing. So
this is the most passionate I've ever seen you.
Well, you started talking about A, food, and B, pizza. So
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, next in line is like sandwiches, but that's a whole other conversation. With pizza, the thing is, so if you're talking about toppings and we're saying that these have to go across everything, are you more of a meat guy or a vegetable guy?
Meat guy, absolutely.
Meat guy. See, I'm veggie, so this is going to be a very interesting list.
Okay, so for any of you not aware, when we're making our definitive lists for things, it's kind of a combination of me and Tyler's intellect, which, our brains together.
That's a strong word.
Well,
subjective opinions.
No, we're right.
Based in fact. Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, absolutely. Sure. So anyways, me and Tyler combined equal the correct truth of everything.
That's why we had to come together. That was the problem. We only had half the pizza, so to speak.
Absolutely. So this one's going to be tough, though, because it seems like we're starting on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right. Like you hate crust.
So I will meet you in the middle, and let's absolutely put mushroom on the list.
Yes, mushroom is the top tier.
Yes, that's an S tier. Yes. Absolutely. So let's put that. Let's just leave that right there on the list. Top 5, easy. Now the ranking, we can get to that later, but that's going to be there.
Right. Okay.
I'm a big pepperoni guy. That's just the classic. Pepperoni. So now does cheese? I mean, I guess we're saying toppings.
Going back to my initial thing before I got off on the subject of crust, are we saying that the pizza is going to be red sauce?
Yeah, red
mozzarella
sauce,
cheese, like shredded mozzarella, or whatever type of cheese.
Standard.
And crust, and that's just your basic pizza. So we're not counting a cheese pizza as like the topping. Like that's just default. That's our baseline.
Well, that's the interesting point. I guess not, because if we're saying toppings, cheese isn't really a topping unless you go like extra cheese. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, would you put extra cheese as a topping? I would not.
It depends where you go. Sometimes it's essential.
Just because they're not giving you enough cheese.
Yeah, exactly. Like their cheese to sauce ratio.
So let's pretend we have the best crust, the best sauce, and the best
then cheese. So we'll say cheese is not a topping.
It could be. I would say no. And if you agree with me, then we'll just
what's that place that does like the cold pizza? They sprinkle the cheese.
Oh, I don't know. That's also ridiculous.
It's blasphemy.
Yeah, it's not blasphemy. It's fine, but like the whole point of a cold pizza it was once hot.
Yeah,
and I'm sure their pizzas were once hot too, but like the idea is you ate as much of that hot pizza as you possibly could.
Raw dough, dude.
Right. Okay, I get it. But you eat as much of that hot pizza as you possibly can. Then you take it home and you put it in the fridge, and then you have as much of it the next day as you possibly can, preferably for breakfast. That's the beauty of cold pizza. If I get my pizza cold just right off the bat, no thank you. I'm sorry.
Your arteries must just fucking hate you.
I'm not saying I do this every day. I'm just saying it's like typically there's no leftover pizza whenever I eat one.
Absolutely. This guy orders a large mushroom pizza for himself.
Yeah.
I'm always sitting there like, oh man, like there's no way he finishes this, right? Like he's gonna give me a slice, and it's always like, oh no, I'm just taking it home.
I mean, I will offer a slice.
No,
but
I would
like
never do that to you.
Deep down,
you would resent me for it. Absolutely.
Or I'll wait till like everyone's like kind of eaten a bunch of food, and then I think the risk of me losing a slice of my pizza is less.
I don't think I've ever given food to anyone.
I don't like it. Like it's like the Friends thing where Joey doesn't like to share food. Like I will get you whatever you want, but I don't want to share it at all.
No, absolutely. I'm the same exact way. It's just like this is mine. Like I could be full on the verge of tears, and I will fucking finish it rather than give it to someone else.
I'll do like a 1-to-1, right? Like if you got like your meat pizza and you wanted to try some
that's
veggies,
just commerce.
Like,
at that point.
Exactly.
That's just fair trade.
Like obviously it has to be the same size and everything.
Right.
Like you can't give like I'll give you like a little thin slice and you give me a fat one.
For some reason, I was thinking a civilization there.
Yeah,
just fucking trading resources.
I can't wait for. We'll get there.
Yeah, we will get there.
Toppings. All right, mushroom. We have pepperoni. We have
I like sausage.
We could put sausage on there. I had a feeling you would want that.
Yeah. I mean, like. So, are we saying this is going to be the best ingredients? Because like it always depends where you go. So
it's going to be the quintessential
my favorite pepperoni.
Sure. But then if you go sausage, you need to kind of. I would say you have to specify. Are you talking like these? Like they were once links and they sliced them up? Are you talking like these crumbled bits?
I like the crumbled ones.
Okay, all right. I can get behind that more
those
than
the good ones.
Sure,
those are my favorite ones.
Crumbled sausage. Let's put it on the
list.
list.
What's your favorite type of pepperoni? Like the little ones or like the thick ones?
No, I like the larger. I shouldn't even say large because some of them are like giant. I want just the regular ass pepperonis, thin sliced.
Yeah.
They get a little crispy.
Crispy, yes.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was literally just looking. As long as they have that crisp, we're good.
Absolutely.
We are good to go. So pepperoni.
I don't care so much about the small. Like the small ones, where they get like crispy and then they turn into little bowls of just grease.
Yeah, I find that the small ones are better at being crispy though.
Yeah,
because it's easier to do.
But again,
that.
We're taking the best pepperoni. So if
we get
best,
what we
I would
want.
rather have the larger, crispy ones. Yeah.
Nice piece of pepperoni.
Yeah, I would say like a 1.5 to 2 inch diameter.
Yeah, we could get the roller out for that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, all our dimensions you can find on our website.
Just to balance out this meat with some veggies too. I love onion on it. Now I won't I won't get just an onion pizza. To me, it's always if you get a 2-topping.
Onion is a catalyst.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like the supplemental.
Yes.
Like, oh, I have to get 2 toppings, otherwise it's not a good deal.
Onion's a good. So like mushroom and onion, you like?
That is my go-to. So if I'm trying a new piece of pizza, that's what I get.
Yeah, I don't see the onion with the meat. That's an interesting combo. I usually stray away from the intermingling of the different species of meat. That sounds so fucking wrong, by the way.
I mean, it's about as wrong as the charred underbelly of the
well,
dough,
I sound like a pizza racist or something.
Well, I mean, okay, let's stay away from pizza racism.
Anyways, yeah, so I usually stick meat on meat and veggie on veggie.
Interesting.
Violence.
Okay. So you don't do the mix then?
Not really. I mean, I will entertain it. Like, there's like specialty pizzas that I've gotten before. Like, have you ever had like I think it's called like a red pizza or something?
Like a red vine?
Yeah. Is that like with pepperoni and there's like, onions and a bunch of other stuff like mushrooms and stuff? It's like a bunch of
like
mushrooms.
A Supreme?
Yeah, like a Supreme,
just,
I guess.
It works. They just put everything on it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's typically too much. Like if you want to go meat lovers, that's fine. Yeah. And I get that, but... I mean, it should be on the list. Is it hit our top 5? Probably not. That's fine. The onions.
Onions, yeah. I mean, I think it's in the conversation. We can definitely.
What are your thoughts on? So I mean, you have your meat as far as like pepperoni sausage. Do you go bacon, or do you have to have the bacon and pineapple?
I can go bacon
just by itself.
But I wouldn't put it in my top 5 actually.
Okay.
Which is an unpopular opinion. I would rather go sausage or pepperoni over the bacon.
I would as well. Like my thing though is if I'm putting like something like pineapple on there, like for me, if you do like a pineapple, onion, and bacon, it's delicious.
Yeah, you need the bacon with the pineapple.
Yeah,
the salt to the sweet ratio for sure. I think that's absolute necessity.
Right.
I wouldn't eat just pineapple on a pizza.
Right. So is that our
I think we're excluding combinations because referring back to Article 15, the soup tier list.
Article 15. You should.
Yeah, you see it right there. In the bylaws there.
Okay.
The soup tier list.
Can't believe I forgot about 15.
Clearly
that was
stipulates.
An amendment, but I'll let it go.
Sure,
yeah,
whatever. The soup tier list clearly indicates that there are no combinations allowed. Therefore, tomato was removed because of the grilled cheese clause.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
We didn't allow the grilled cheese with tomato soup.
Which is a shame because tomato is anyway. We're still on
tomato
pizza.
soup would be top 5 if the grilled cheese is with it.
Would you put tomato on a pizza just by itself?
Oh yeah, like chunks. That's an interesting. Oh
Even
man,
like slices maybe. But again, okay. So if we're saying solo toppings,
that wouldn't be. I was thinking of something. I don't know if you ever had this artichoke hearts.
Yeah, I could.
Those are good, man.
Do some artichoke hearts.
Now you're going to pay a premium for those, but they're good.
I don't know if I've ever had them on a pizza. I like artichoke hearts.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I've had them on a pizza.
I have,
before.
and it is delicious.
Yeah,
it is really good.
By themselves,
I enjoyed it.
Just pizza and artichoke.
Artichoke hearts.
Interesting.
That's all I had. Yeah, it was good too.
What about like banana peppers?
I am, and I was waiting for us to get to this. I am a no pepper kind of guy.
No pepper at all. Green peppers, I'm with you. I think green peppers are too strong.
Green peppers are disgusting.
So, okay.
Or banana peppers, nope. I will do jalapenos. Not a pizza, obviously, but like I find that
so in just life, not even just on pizza. You just don't like peppers at all.
No.
Oh,
so
man.
I will flash back to when I was like 10 or something.
Yeah.
My mom made this shrimp stir fry thing with peppers in it, and it was like red and green peppers. It was the sickest I've ever been in my entire life.
Interesting. And so you just can't ever go back to that.
It is mentally imprinted on my brain that my body rejects it. Like it makes me ill every time I eat it.
So no peppers. Okay, well then that makes it easy. I mean,
I can't budge on that one. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. And I would never put bell pepper or not bell pepper.
Green peppers.
Well, definitely not green peppers.
Yeah.
But specifically like banana peppers. I would never do that without pepperoni. For me, it's
interesting.
Like banana peppers and onions are interchangeable. But if we're saying solo toppings, then onions off the list. Like honestly, as far as I'm kind of in your camp now, where if we're talking solo toppings, I would say short of mushroom, everything else is meat. This might be easier if we're going solo
mushroom.
toppings.
I think dude, we need to try the artichoke hearts. I think I could get you on board. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to convince you.
No,
you like the artichoke hearts.
Yeah.
You like pizza.
Yeah,
it's an easy combination.
Does Permanis do artichoke hearts?
I doubt it.
Probably not.
Yeah, you got to get like an actual pizza place to do that. And it, like I said, it's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Like you know what? Like you've had artichokes. It's not very common, but for anyone who doesn't know, like artichokes, you have to like fucking peel those things. And there's like
I didn't know. I don't even like if you were to show me a picture of an artichoke, I wouldn't.
Oh shit! Yeah. So it's this big like green thing with all these leaves on it, and you fucking peel them, and you like eat the tip of the leaf or something. Yeah. Because that is like connected to the middle, which is where all the good stuff is. So you go and it's like one of the hardest foods, like work to eat ratio. Like you have like peanuts and stuff, or not peanuts.
Would
but
you say that's harder to eat than a pufferfish?
No.
Okay.
Well, you have to fucking go to school to like
probably. Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't think anything's hard.
Speaking of fish, what's your stance on anchovies?
I haven't. It's been too long since I've had it. I think I'd like it though because anchovies are really salty, right?
They are. They're extremely salty.
Yeah, so I think I'd be on board. I don't know if it'd be top 5. That's something I'd need to try again to get an updated stance on that.
It's weird because I guess we're saying these are the best ingredients, right? I truly don't know if anchovies are supposed to be salty. Like if you eat an anchovy on a pizza
by itself,
and it's crazy salty or less salty, which is the preferred ratio?
I feel like they're supposed to be really salty, right?
I guess, but like how much salt is I don't know.
No, I mean, when you're dying of
well, okay, if you're having a heart attack, then that's too much salt.
That's when I usually stop, Tyler.
that's
when my sodium levels have reached.
When my left arm starts tingling, then it's like, well, okay, maybe just one more.
Exactly,
that's
right?
it. Yeah,
always one more.
Right.
It's just like lifting. You got to get that last one in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Except pizza, or are we talking weights?
Well, weights, but it also applies to pizza.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so anchovies, I don't know. What else is there? I'm trying to think. I mean, so what do we have? We have pepperoni, we have mushroom, we have sausage for sure. And we need 2 more spots.
Yeah, honestly, if this is our definitive Couch Company top 5, even without having it, I would put artichoke hearts on there.
Yeah, man.
I'd be fine with it.
I mean, I want to get you, like I said, nothing's official till we get the website.
Yeah,
and that's like fucking phase 3.
It's phase 2.
Is that phase
close. 2? We have it. Couchcompany.games is our website.
Oh, that's right. You did get the domain. Yeah. So stay tuned for that, listeners out there.
Yeah,
we're going places. We got some fucking things in the work here.
So, what's your stance on ham? Is that like you need a pineapple thing?
Oh, ham's good. Yeah, I forgot about ham. I think it is a combo, but I think it is more sustainable than something like a pineapple or an onion.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
The more we talk, the more I just want to fucking have an onion.
If you want to do
pizza.
buffalo chicken, we can put that on there.
I respect your beliefs.
Okay.
I respect your religious beliefs here, so I will refrain from going down that path, although absolutely I would, because we're changing the rules at that point. We're changing the sauce.
Well, that's what
we're changing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's tough.
So we said red, regular crust.
I mean, do you say like, do you want chicken on there? Do you want meatballs? Maybe.
See, I would argue chicken. Like, have you ever just had chicken on red pizza?
Yeah, it's like a chicken
parm. Bad. Yeah, it's not bad.
Again, then you're getting into like, is this a chicken parmesan open face sandwich?
Right?
It
yeah.
could be. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
or is a chicken parmesan sandwich just a half pizza?
I think those questions are more philosophical than our episode like a couple weeks ago.
Probably. You mean about death in the Audubon?
The Audubon. What's more American than the Audubon?
Absolutely nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
Or pizza for that matter. I would bet if you went around and actually talked to people and it's like, hey, what's your favorite food? Pizza has to win out.
Pizza wins?
Right.
I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right.
Like,
what do you think like the top
steaks?
3 are?
It's probably
hamburgers,
like
steaks, maybe sandwich.
Yeah, I mean sandwich is this super.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's so broad that I can see a lot of people being like, I just like a fucking sandwich.
I can eat more sandwiches, I think, than I could pizza. So with pizza, if I eat like a large pizza, right?
Yeah.
Like the way we're talking about this now and how hungry I am right now, we're probably gonna get some pizza.
Yeah, let's get some pizza.
So I'm gonna have a pizza. I'm gonna eat that, and then I'm probably gonna be good for, I don't know, at least 3 more days.
Like an hour or
so.
No.
Yeah, but I'll be good for a while, at least a week or so, just
after
while
your
my body's still like digesting the entire thing.
Yeah.
But like with sandwiches, I could just crush a sandwich every day.
Sandwich,
for lunch, like clockwork, I could eat a sandwich every single day and be fine with it.
You know what I'm like with that? McChickens.
Yeah, I mean that's a sandwich.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a chicken sandwich.
Sure.
Yeah, I could just eat chicken sandwiches, like
right.
Especially they're $1. You know what I do? So when I'm trying to find the value of something, I always put it in proportion to McChickens.
Yeah, how many McChickens?
Yeah, so if I'm buying a new car and it's $20,000, it's 20. I could get 20,000 McChickens for this. I could feed a village.
How many McChickens do you eat at one time, like one sitting when you eat it?
So usually when I go to McDonald's, I've actually had a new strategy here. Did a lot of calculations to try to get the most efficiency.
I would be disappointed if you didn't, but
absolutely. So after long nights of calculation, I get well, it depends if they have the deal or not. So if they do have this deal, they have a 2 for $5, and it's like Big Mac, quarter pounder, 10-piece nuggets. Like those are the options that you can get.
I gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So I get a Big Mac and 10-piece nuggets, and then 2 McChickens, and that's $7.
That's insane.
That's $7. That's
awesome.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That's so much money.
Now the problem is you don't get the fries, and I love McDonald's fries, and that's where they kill you though. You're gonna lose all your value when you buy fries.
Because the fries are what, like $4 for a large.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Like that's over half my whole meal here.
Yeah,
just for large fries. That's insane.
Do you have to have the fries though? Like, could you just substitute with like another 2 McChickens or something and be satisfied?
I don't.
Or
I don't have
do
the
you
fries.
Need the fries. Oh, so you don't get the fries?
No.
Because
I get $7 gets me all of that food.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
okay,
if I want to,
let's make it easy. Let's say it's $10, right? Let's round up because I'm terrible at math. You said it was how much? $20,000 for a car?
$20,000 for a car? Sure. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So then you're what 2,000 days?
Yeah, right.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
That's if you ate it every day too.
That's I'd be dead long before I get there, but of eating nothing but Big Macs and chicken nuggets.
I mean, you're an active guy. You play.
I don't think
you play the sports.
There comes a point, Tyler, when you just put so much garbage in your body.
I mean, 2000 that's
matter.
what 6 years ish, give or take.
That's
right?
like I have the best engine ever, and I'm just constantly filling my car up with diesel.
I mean, I guess but the thing is, you're what 25 now, so that's 6 years. You'll be like around. Okay, so you'll be 30 by the time you're done spending your car money on McChickens and Big Macs and things like that.
Crazy.
And then if you calculate, like, I mean, I know obviously you did the math already, but like if you start calculating, like, is that deal going to be around 6 years from now and that kind of thing? Like, what does that look like? You have to do all the inflation and whatnot.
It's very complicated when you start getting into the McChicken business.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to buy a car?
Yeah, I'm trying to buy a car. I'm actually probably going to wait till next year. Prices right now are just absolutely absurd.
Yeah, it's like a chip shortage still, right?
It's chip shortage, which is fucking crazy. Like, I was looking at this Fiat Spider, 2017. They want $23K for it. Literally in December, it was $18,000.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I will never, ever buy that until it goes back down to that fucking price, because that car's like fucking 5 years old or 4 years old, right? So it's like, oh, it's so stupid. But back to the pizza. Right. I think what we learned is.
So do we need to add any more toppings real quick before we start?
No, I think we're good.
So now we are ranking these. So like, not only do we pick the top 5, top 10, whatever our lists are, but we have to rank them.
I think we rank them, right?
Yeah,
because we're men.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like women can't rank things. I don't know why I said that.
Well, I mean, of course they can. It's very.
We're.
I think you're saying we're not afraid to.
We're not afraid.
To put our stamp of approval.
That's probably
on the
better.
Number one spot.
Okay, so anyways, we have pepperoni. We have
Onion
sausage.
Is going to come after us.
Maybe pepperoni, sausage. Fucking. I already forgot everything we said.
Pepperoni,
mushrooms,
sausage, mushroom.
Did we say onions?
No, I think onions off of it because it's
not
a standalone thing. Well, that's the thing we're trying to figure
chicken,
out. Artichoke hearts.
Artichoke hearts.
Would you put chicken over meatballs on a pizza?
I would.
You would? I think I would go with you too, because we are saying it's the best chicken you've ever had.
That's what I'm saying.
What about something like steak or anything like that?
Steak. Yeah, but I think you start getting into the territory of like you need a different sauce for steak, like a Diablo pizza.
So you would do chicken over onion.
Chicken over onion. If we're doing that's actually tough.
Me personally, I would actually put onion on it.
I think I'd do chicken. I'm trying to like mentally simulate eating 2 slices of pizza.
Yeah. You're literally miming this.
For the listeners at home. You have to. I'm actually salivating too. I'll go onion. I think it's close. Okay. I'm not 100% sold, but since you want to go onion, I'm down to ride with you.
I would. Yeah. I think
you're right.
Veggies,
actually,
3 meats is a good five.
Good ratio.
We're
kind of diverse there.
So number 1 topping, pepperoni.
Should we start 5? Just start.
We can start
eliminating
at 5.
them. Yeah, it's more suspenseful that way too.
I mean, I guess onion. If it was that hard to pick what was on there,
I think it'd be
right?
onion. We could probably do artichoke hearts as
because
well.
We haven't had it.
One party hasn't had it.
Oh, okay. So you did have it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have had it.
Okay, gotcha.
Why would I put it on there if I haven't had it?
I don't know. I just thought.
You know, it'd be great. Something neither of us have ever tried.
Yeah,
let's put it in the fucking top 5.
We would love it. I don't know. Okay, yeah. So
that seems a little bit disingenuous.
I could go either way. If it was me, I would probably, even thinking, now I'm going to simulate the whole like eating too. I would say.
I think you'd like the artichoke hearts more, anyways.
Than onion? You think? As a solo, maybe
it's
as a
very
solo.
good.
Okay.
As a solo, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll trust you, man. I'll take that leap of faith.
All right. Do you want to put the artichoke hearts 5?
No, we'll put them at 4 if you think I'm going to like it more than onion.
I think a solo experience, it is better. There's just more to the artichoke heart.
Amen. All right. Number 5, onion.
The onion's on there just because it's such a essential part of the pizza. It's almost a nod, just the best side topping. You know what I mean?
Oh, if we're going into the top 5 side toppings, that's a whole other.
I know it's a different conversation. I'm just saying for this.
Yes,
it's almost like
number
it's
5. It's
onion
it's
5.
Right on the next
artichoke hearts 4.
Sure.
3.
Sausage.
I would put
for me.
sausage.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
Now the real question is mushroom or pepperoni. How much do you like pepperoni?
I would go mushroom and then pepperoni, and I think you would do the opposite.
You would put pepperoni as 1.
Yes.
Yes, I would do the opposite.
You would do the opposite.
So now what
here's
do
the
we
question.
do here? Okay.
How strongly do you feel about mushroom being number 1?
Let me ask you this: if you get a piece of pizza,
yeah,
do you always put pepperoni on every single pizza you get? If you're going to a new pizza place,
no.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough question.
I'm not trying to throw my weight around here.
I haven't been to a new pizza place in a long time, so and just the situation. I know where this is going. Like it's going to be mushroom, but
I'm just saying.
Yes. So no. So what you're saying is, let me see if I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
What you're saying is, if you go to a new place, you got to try the mushroom. That's like a make or break for you.
I'm saying I can't remember the last time I ordered something other than mushroom pizza. That wasn't something like a Hawaiian or that I was sharing with someone else.
Yeah.
If it was a solo piece.
I think you win. Because I will venture off from the pepperoni. Now, I will say a majority of the time, like if I'm trying to place, what you should be doing is trying their cheese, because that'll tell you like the definitive, like how, the naked pizza, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
But I just like pepperoni, so I'll usually just get pepperoni. But I think you get mushroom more than I get.
Give that to me?
I think I'm going to give it to you.
I'll remember this. Tyler will remember that. And
you gave me something else, I think, or something. Maybe not.
I don't know. I mean,
did you give me Battlefield or?
I don't know if I gave it to you. I agreed. Like you convinced me.
I think I convinced you. Yeah,
over Titanfall 2. That's fine.
Right, dude. You said Titanfall 2. That's like being like, oh yeah, broccoli, best pizza topping.
Anything on actually
broccoli isn't.
I don't know if broccoli's that good on pizza.
No, it's not. Unless like you get a specialty thing, right? Like.
That's what I mean. Like, maybe if you did some broccoli, it wasn't like broccoli would have to be cooked all the way, and you'd have to put it almost in like a chicken Alfredo pizza. Did they make that?
I don't know, man.
Like Alfredo sauce, some chicken. Like
that sounds interesting, though.
Yeah,
but you're getting into just fucking flatbread territory at that point, right?
I don't know. All right, so mushroom,
one,
pepperoni
2,
sausage
3,
artichoke hearts.
This is a unique list. Let me tell you. If there's anything you can take away,
finishing off with onion. Yeah. Now, somebody somewhere is listening and screaming.
Cringing.
Like just, yeah.
Wow.
Either
why the
because
fuck is artichoke hearts on our list? I think
over something else. Yeah, we're missing something. I think we're missing something that is
essential.
Easy.
I mean, bacon.
Yeah.
Definitely should be there. I would probably take an onion over a bacon, depending on the quality.
I absolutely would. Yeah.
Oh man, but we're talking about the best bacon ever. But how good can the best bacon ever be? Because it's always going to be those little bits, right?
It would have to.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
so it's like
there are places that actually cut out like strips of bacon.
I don't think I've ever had like a strip on my pizza.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vinny's does that with their
really?
pineapple and bacon pizza.
They
but again,
it's the
I don't think I like bacon by itself. Similar to like anchovies, where it's just too salty for me. Like you need something to
a counterweight,
water that down a little bit. Yeah.
Well, that is a list.
That was fun. That only took 30 minutes to get there.
We could take it for another fucking hour.
That's pretty good. Yeah. All right, that's our first, second list, I guess. We're gonna have to go back to the records and
we need to amend
the
soup list just to actually get 5 in the first person shooter list because we did name a bunch, but we didn't order them.
Yeah, we'll
get there.
Sure.
Like I said, man, stay tuned. That's gonna be one of our features on our website. We're gonna have definitive lists.
Couch Company definitive lists.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Of everything.
If you're ever wondering what to do,
yeah.
you just go to a Couch Company.
I'm
what
all
is it?
for that.
Couchcompany.games. Wow, dude, how do we get that? That's like such a good
name. Nobody's using
That's
.games.
Insane, yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's cool, weird. Like, we have the domain. We just have to start actually putting like a site down. Right now, just going to our podcast.
I wonder what's our next step here. By the way,
make a website. I guess.
Is it a website or is it YouTube?
Either. It doesn't matter. Either or.
Yeah. Anyways, so what have you been up to, Tyler? I heard you've been a little bit busy.
I've been busy, so I did want to. I finally finished Cowboy Bebop.
Oh man,
yeah. So I didn't want people to think that I was.
Can we hit the applause for that?
Okay, yeah. Wait, which one is it?
There we go.
That
was a 1-4.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah, you keep hearing that guy woo. He's super into Cowboy Bebop. He loves it.
That's probably Gerard, dude.
Probably. Yeah. Actually, I'm very excited to talk to Gerard about it.
That's what. I think that he loves that show.
Good to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked it.
I would like the record to state that Tyler said he was going to finish it that initial weekend. By the way,
I did, and it took me an additional 2 weeks, and that's 100% on me. I apologize.
All right.
But I did finish it,
yeah.
and I went through it, and I'm honestly a little bit sad that I did, just because I feel like it ended on such a down note, right?
It is a little bit heavy at the end there, like
everything just kind of seemed like splintered, and it just didn't come back together, right? So you have Spike going off and fighting some guy who, and I know this is sacrilege, but he was the least interesting story to me. Which is supposed to be
wild.
The big draw, right?
Him and Vicious?
Yeah, I just didn't get it.
So
or
cool.
Why I should care as much.
So I mean, why you should care? I don't know. He's just cool, but essentially, they were partners back in the day, which I'm sure you pieced that together, right?
Yeah, like Sephiroth and Cloud, basically.
Yeah, right. It's kind of the same thing, and there was a falling out, and the whole thing with his the girl and everything.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I mean, it's not something crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean it's fine. I get it. I just I don't know. I think Ed is my favorite character, the most animated.
That's shocking.
I know. I don't know why. Again, I think it has something to do with the whole Tiny Tina vibe, which I like from the Borderlands thing.
Yeah.
But she was so kooky, and then she, I guess, finds her dad, and she's so innocent and friendly and nice and different things, and her dad is such an ass. Beyond. I can't even, without doing very colorful language, I can't even describe how much of a jerk this guy is.
He's I don't know. He just seems super, because I forget what the details are, but he's looking for something, right?
He's just mapping.
He's mapping.
He's mapping Earth, and you can't map Earth. With all the asteroids and with all the constant
changes every day,
stuff,
right? Yeah,
he's just going to be constantly running. So he leaves his daughter for 7 years. She shows up. He says, "Oh, hey, you want to hang out?" And then a meteor falls. Yeah, a meteor falls, and he just books it.
Yeah,
and then she goes after him. Yeah.
So, I feel it's the same. He's just distracted, right? I don't think he has any animosity towards anyone, but he's just
but that's the thing is even if you're distracted, that doesn't excuse you being a terrible.
He's
parent.
a horrible dad. I'm just saying, his motivations aren't fuck my daughter.
No, right. Absolutely. It's but I think that's the thing though, is it was so heartbreaking because I liked that character so much that it's so she leaves. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, last episode, maybe she comes back. And I don't know all the history with the show, if they got canceled before they actually wrapped up what they wanted to. It seemed like a conclusion.
Yeah.
But she literally leaves with Ein, the dog.
Yep.
And
I was going to say, at least she gets
gone.
Ein, right?
Yeah, but then they're just gone, right?
Yeah, gone.
And it's just
dude,
okay,
that's why I love this show, man. It is just so
But that's
real.
That's open-ended, phase open-ended, where she's screaming at Spike not to leave and stuff.
I know, right?
And literally shooting a gun in an airlock ship,
right.
which is probably not great.
Not smart.
So she's just devastated. What's his face is Jet.
Dude, Phase is so sad because it's
everything's sad. It's just a sadness after sadness.
Hers is the most tragic to me. I mean, maybe it's tough because Spike's is really tragic too for a different reason. So Phase is really sad because she, uncovers all this stuff about her past. She can't remember
Yeah.
anything about her family, and like it sucks because like she wants to care, but she doesn't. And then she realizes like, okay, well, this is my new family. And then what happens right after this realization? Everyone fucking leaves.
Yep.
Like how it's so heartbreaking for her.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like
it's really tough.
Every story is just shattered, and then it just leaves you. And then Spike. I mean, spoilers to whoever's not already seen it, but like then Spike goes, fights Vicious, kills him,
yeah,
and then dies.
Well, dude, it's like I guess
theoretically die.
He's fucking dead. Yeah,
you never know. They could reboot it.
With the live action, man. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a sequel. Spike, like the whole. I watched like a I don't know what you call it, like a not a documentary, but like a video,
like an analysis of
an analysis of it,
Yeah.
and it was really interesting because they talked about like it's pretty much about like your past, right? Because everyone's dealing with their past and trying to tie up loose ends and stuff like that. So you see Jet, who's probably the most successful with this, who goes back and ties up those kind of things with like his ex-wife, I guess, or whatever, and like his old partner and stuff like that. And like he's able to walk away and just be okay with that and move on to the next chapter. But then you see the dichotomy of that with Spike, where it's like he can't let go.
Right.
I forget what the chick's name is, like Spike's
Julia.
Yeah. Nice. He can't let her go. He goes back and it's literally poison to him, like where it means his death. Like he can't let it go. He can't see what's like right in front of him. That moment with Faye when she's like trying to get him to stay.
Yeah.
I forget what she says, but it's like something to the effect of like you're not understanding, like we're here for you and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. And it's like a 50-50 split too, because you have Spike not being able to let go.
No.
You have to some extent Ed, because I mean she's chasing after her dad that just abandoned her. So
yeah,
like,
that one's more. It's tough to like kind of analyze that one because it's like.
I mean, like,
it's hard to see what Ed's
motivations
are.
It's his child, right? Like, it's, hey, I want the approval of my parent. I want my parent to care about me, and
they don't. Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy. That one's tragic too.
Everything. Yeah. It's just it's a bunch of tragedy.
I told you it's gritty. It's real. It's like there's no happy ending.
Yeah.
It's just real.
And maybe that's it. It's the lack of happy ending. It's the lack. Like even Breaking Bad. Had a
lot
ending.
Of closure.
It did, and
at least for Walt.
Yeah,
Walt got everything he wanted.
Yeah, and Jesse got away and everything, and like, but I guess what I'm saying is like there's still they kind of like it was depressing.
Yeah,
but not to the extent of and it's just over. Like I don't know, like
yeah, Bebop leaves you with a real.
It just Bebop is this
melancholy feel.
This kind of it almost felt like, and this is kind of a weird. Correlation, but it felt like a messy, not even messy breakup, but like a breakup where it's just like instead of just ending things, it was like this like long strung out like
almost like Spike and Julia.
Yeah, yeah. But then everyone dies, and like the weird thing with him is like I mean he was obviously still in shock, right? Like I mean she dies in front of him. He's like laughing and eating bad food.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I watched it.
I mean, like when Spike leaves the ship to go after Vicious and find Julia and stuff, like, and he says something about that too. Like he's like, I'm already dead. Like I'm trying to find out if I was ever alive.
Yeah,
he's always he already resigned himself to death. Like he was not a living man
in a way, but like he also said he's not going there to die, right? Like he's like,
I guess he did say that.
And now I'm trying to think if that was actually the last one or if that was like the last time he fought Vicious. I don't know, but
yeah, I remember when he was talking to Faye, he was like, I don't know if I was ever alive or something like that.
Yeah, he's just trying to see if it's worth it.
He just couldn't get over it, which is so sad to see. Like you want to see your character like overcome things.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like negative character growth.
Yeah.
Where it's like they regressed or not regressed, but they stagnated and couldn't face their past and get over it.
And to be fair, like that, I was not expecting that. And it
does subvert expectations.
And so I guess good. I'm sorry, I'm gonna sneeze.
No, you're good, man. So, did you enjoy it overall? Then, like, what would you say your experience was watching that?
Yeah, is that being my first? Well, I shouldn't say first. I still watch Dragon Ball Z for whatever that's worth. But
this is like
my first like
open
anime,
to shut.
Yeah,
like beginning to end. You actually finished. Right?
No, I was happy with it. Like I liked it, and then just. To surprise you, because I was like, okay, well, I have to do this, and this was something where I was just like kind of like snuck it in when we were playing like balloons or something. I did start watching One Punch Man.
Yeah, I wish you would have saved that for the podcast because that would have been a good reaction.
Man, I love that show.
It's amazing.
In a weird... So when I say I love the show, it's weird because I shouldn't, I guess. Like, I don't in the same way that I appreciate Cowboy Bebop. Like, the art, I think, in Cowboy Bebop is very, very well done. I love that. And I love, like, the stories and different things. With One Punch Man, I love the tone of it. I love the fact that it's just, like... It's almost like if they were trying to do, like, a cartoon with Superman. Yeah. It's like, how do you make this, right?
It's very aware of itself, right? Like it knows what it is. It's so on the nose. It's really funny. It's just so good.
But I'm halfway through that. Like that's only a 12 episodes, or 13 episodes, something like that.
Yeah, the first season's like 12, and there's a second season as well.
Is that on Hulu? I think I only saw 12.
The second season might not be, but I think it's on Netflix maybe.
Is it worth seeing the second season? Or is
I liked it.
Okay.
But
try it out.
Most people will say it's definitely not as good as the first because a different studio took it over.
Interesting.
But I thought it was still funny and good. But
anyway, I'm using that as a palate cleanser, and then we'll
that's a great one to do. I did. So I watched Death Note, and I did One Punch Man palate cleanser after that one because I needed it.
So then One Punch Man, and then I maybe go to Death Note.
Death Note might be a good one after that. I was trying to think. I know you were talking about trying Full Metal again, just because everyone always tells you to do that.
Yeah, it's like I went into the anime water, and now my body's
trying
like...
I'm trying to be very careful because, you get that taste, and people who like anime are like fucking sharks, man. They'll try to just get you, after they smell the blood. But I'm trying to still take it easy on you before I drop some bombs. But probably Death Note, because that's the one everyone recommends. Just
how many episodes is that? Like, how long is it?
It might be 30-some. Or maybe it's in the 20s. Okay, so it's nothing crazy, though. It's nothing. It's definitely
Full Metal's like, 100 or something? Or is it not that high?
Like 60-something.
60? Okay.
Full Metal is actually just perfect. Perfect length. Perfect. I think it's the best anime ever made. It's not my favorite, but I think it's the best.
I can respect that. I mean, like I said, now that I'm accustomed to that mindset, at least right now, right? Yeah. That's why I figured, okay, I'll go right into One Punch Man. I won't leave the anime scene and then continue on and just kind of see what...
I'm curious. We'll have to see after you finish One Punch Man. One Punch Man's so good, though.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character in that? Do you have, I
kind of like the main dude, which is...
Saitama?
I like him. And
so
then,
his voice actor
is pretty cool.
Is Red 13 in Remake.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Perfect.
Really good.
I cannot
Max
wait.
Middleman's one of my favorite voice actors. He's also in Persona 5. He's so good.
I, for whatever reason, the art style in One Punch Man, I thought that would annoy the heck out of me.
Yeah.
That he's just different than everything else, and it
when they
fits so
make him
perfectly.
It's super low res.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love it.
But some of the fights are it's so over the top that it's just such beautiful animation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's like going from Bebop, where it's like this 4:3 ratio, it's very, very old, and then you go to One Punch Man, where it's like high res, 16:9, super colorful, everything's perfectly it's really neat.
It's an interesting thing. But Cowboy Bebop's so timeless. And we talked a little bit about this, when you have a certain art styles, original Batman the Animated Series. Yeah. That stuff's just, it's never going to look bad because, and I know you pointed out some things just based on time restrictions and stuff, but I'm talking about the style in general. It's just,
it was a lot looser, and I can absolutely respect that.
Yeah.
The animation was a little, for lack of a better term, because janky isn't the right word, but jankier, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't as perfectly smooth as maybe One Punch Man is.
That was kind of the feel they wanted to go for.
It was very well done.
And I can go back and watch that today and still really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it looks good. Which is actually, here's an interesting subject. So, there's things like that when we watch these kind of shows, like cartoons or animation, anime or whatever, but it doesn't kind of get the same respect or anything like that in terms when you're talking about video games. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about retro video games, everything's getting remastered, touched up, and things like that. But there are some of these shows that are the original still holds up. Is that do you think that's a mindset thing, or why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's a little weird because I think that companies are doing it more for money, right? So like,
absolutely.
like you have companies remastering things because it's an easy buck. Or they love I shouldn't make all companies villainous, but like if they're like, oh, this is what the fans like, we're gonna give this extra love.
Yeah.
Sometimes like you can see it with like the Halo remasters and things where maybe they're bringing in a new studio and it's like, okay, hey, we'll give you this old game to remaster. You can get your feet wet and kind of figure that stuff out.
Sure.
Same with like Gears and whatnot.
Where the groundwork's already there.
What I think is like when you're talking about art styles and things like that, it seems like the companies are always looking forward because they know what makes money.
Yeah.
The thing that keeps those art styles still with us, right? Like the reason why we still have games with PS1 graphics and things like that, is the indie scene and other developers who either maybe don't have the budget or maybe just love that era or that art style, for instance, so much that they want to make new games and invoke that and get it where like even younger kids or new gamers can still appreciate what they appreciate. I mean, that's why 8-bit is so important, or 16 or just like pixel art.
Well, I actually think of a game like Hades, that actually seems to break the mold a little bit, where that could be something that it's such a unique art style. It's not trying to push graphical, and like you were saying, that was an indie studio as well. That could be a game where you could play it 20 years from now, and you're not going to lose anything from that graphical standard. I guess maybe part of the issue is, in the video game industry, they go for realism a lot of the time. Like some of the graphics you're trying to go for that realism. So obviously, when that gets improved upon, it's kind of hard to go back and look at previous generations of those graphics.
Yeah, I mean, coming from like if you design stuff, I mean, I've seen stuff I've done in college, right? Like either animation or graphic design or whatever, and I'm looking at it, 20 years later, 10 years later, whatever it is, and I'm obviously picking things apart and like, oh, this isn't, even if it was maybe fine at the time. Yeah, just the world has changed, right? Like whenever I was in college, and this was kind of this pendulum going where a lot of people were designing in this grunge style, right? Yeah. So that was back was 2008, 9.
Sure.
And now it's all clean and material and stuff. And now it's starting to evolve even from there. But like you're looking at it through a lens of like today, and I think that's what companies are doing now. Is they're like, oh, hey, we have Unreal 5 with new lighting and ray tracing and everything. Like, why wouldn't we put that in Spyro or something? But then a new game just came out. I think it's like Boomerang X or something that you're looking at. And it's like, it looks super fun, but again, it looks like PlayStation graphics. It's getting a lot of buzz and stuff, and it's all over Steam right now. But the idea of that is like, you can still have games that have specific art styles. Yeah. And I was thinking about this today. It's like the games that can truly identify their art style. So, I mean, you mentioned Hades, right? So Hades is a Supergiant. That's the developer. Yeah. Supergiant Games, they made Hades, but it's still within the realm of Bastion and Transistor and Pyre
sure.
and all those. So if you like the Hades art, like I'm, again, super excited to watch you play Pyre. But the characters have the same look and feel and the same art style. So it's less about the game itself and more about like what artist is doing it and how they do it.
So what would you classify that kind of art style as then? Is there groups to this kind of stuff?
I think it is, if you're really kind of going base model, like that would be honestly in the same realm as something like a Borderlands or Telltale game with just like cell shaded. Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's very illustrative.
It's a different like version of that.
It's a different take on it. Yeah,
sure.
For sure.
Because it's like 2D and
I mean it's no different than like, oh, this is a pixel art game. Cool. Is it 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever?
Right.
And then is it like true pixel art? Like you're mimicking exactly what was capable at that time period, color palette and things like that? Right. Or are you taking a pixel art approach similar to, I think it's Bravely Default, where they have these pixels, but then they do this almost like tilt shift thing, so like the background is blurred, and it's like somebody like almost like a little play, and somebody's moving like a little pixel character.
Okay.
And stuff.
Wow. Yeah. But I know that recently, like the pixel stuff with the backdrop of like a more realistic setting.
Right.
Was that what you were talking about earlier? Or?
That's part of it. Right.
So that's like another iteration of that as well, which I actually think that looks really cool. I like that myself.
And people are going to continue to iterate. But in terms of having like a truly unique new art style. I mean, how many times, like if you come out with a shooter and you have a black line around it, like if you have like, here's my gun, it's textured and everything, fairly realistic, but then you have this black cartoony line around it. I don't care what the game is about or anything like that. The reviewers are going to say, oh, with like a Borderlands-like art style and stuff.
Sure.
So really it comes down to, can you create something that people will point to you as the first or the one that did it like the best or whatever. Like that.
I mean, like being immortalized in history for anything, you got to do like one of two things. You have to be the first or you have to innovate and be the best, right? Yeah. Like you changed the game somehow. So yeah, definitely. I always find that interesting though, because you do have these things where people were much more forgiving watching like older movies, and that's a lot different too because with film and stuff, when people shot movies like on actual film, some argue that the quality is better than like digital and stuff because it has this like really unique quality.
It's like vinyl if you're listening to a record versus like a digital
you point to any other medium. It's like music, like listening to music. People will still listen to vinyl and stuff. People will watch old movies on whatever millimeter film and things like that. But then you look at video games, it's like, oh well, these old games are unplayable. We got to remaster. We got to do this or that. It's like a company will never put the game as is on like Steam or something, like on the new console, right?
Or if they do, they try to tweak something, or they don't have the initial file, so they still have to do some work on it.
Sure,
I think that, especially with video games, you run more into issues with controlling it than you do with the visuals. I think, like I would argue games are so broad in terms of like the art styles and what people like and things. Like you have everything from, like what we were talking about, like with Hades and stuff, and even more like visual novel stuff to something like a Battlefield that's like super realistic or Battlefront or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that people, like, there's everything in between. You have there's a game called, I think it's like Minute, which is I might have mentioned it before, but it's literally just a black background and it's just black and white, and that's the only 2 pixel colors you have in the entire game. And people love that game, and it's very well done. But it's taking the art style and making it work for whatever game you're trying to produce. I think the issue that you run into with older games and why companies want to remaster it is A, it's money. Yeah. B, it's something so beloved that they want to take another stab at it and maybe realize their vision that they maybe couldn't back in the day.
Sure.
Like, like Final Fantasy VII and things like that.
Yeah.
Or
I think that's much different, but I mean, like if we're looking at something, because there's different kind of remakes that you can have or remasters. So there's like remasters and remakes, and I think those terms get intertwined too much.
Yeah, I was gonna, definitely too much for sure.
But like, I think a better example is something like Spyro, right? The new Spyro, remaster is something, as the cats just fucking hate what I'm saying.
I got the cats.
So the old Spyro, not the old Spyro, the Spyro remaster that came out recently, a couple years ago, I guess, was really well done, and I really enjoyed it. And they did a lot of awesome like updates, and it looked really great as well.
Yeah.
But there will always be something about those original Spyro games that it will never be able to capture. And some people can't go back and play those old games. Like the graphics are too rough for them. But I can. Like I really appreciate, what Insomniac did for the original Spyros, back in 97 or whatever it was, 99.
Like I don't know if it's so much the and I'm sure there are definitely people there like, oh, the graphics suck, so I don't want to play it. Right?
Yeah,
like
right.
I'm sure my nephew would not.
Another
Spyro.
thing I was going to say is that I think the movement in the original is better. It feels better.
I would have to go back and play it, but I think that's the thing is I would I feel it's almost like tighter. Like there's less like flourishes and animations and things.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain. I'm sure like a fucking speedrunner could do it, because I know that there were some speedrunners in that community that were like, oh no, I got to like play the original, because they're going to be the ones who know the technicalities.
But I guess my thing is like you still get down to feel and control and things like that, where it's
there's more elements than like watching a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was interesting. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. Absolutely.
There's a lot of factors, so I think the takeaway is there's so many things that you have to update it, I guess.
Games are fun and go buy all the remasters. That's the takeaway. Today's sponsor. So one thing while we're on the subject of games, because I know we want to take a quick break here.
Sure.
So I know a couple of weeks ago we talked about the Switch Pro. which we talked about last week.
Right.
They announced the Switch OLED.
Yeah.
And we also talked about the Steam Pal, which was kind of stealth, not released, like stealth announced yesterday.
Stealth being the optimal word.
Yeah, they
there.
just kind of put this out and it started blowing up on Twitter and everything else. But
have you seen the memes for those yet?
Not yet.
Like the comparisons and stuff? Oh,
between
it's so funny.
the Twitch and
the
Steam.
Switch
So it's called the Steam Deck, which I think is very interesting because there's already a Stream Deck.
Yeah, that's a close one.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But essentially what this is not what we were originally talking about with something that was streaming only. It can stream from your computer, but it is an actual computer. So think it's Switch.
Yeah, right.
You can put games on and everything.
Operating system and everything, right?
Yeah, it's using a Linux Steam OS 3.0 or something like that.
Okay.
It looks pretty slick. Like it's actually like, oh, can I have this for my computer? Like it looks nicer.
Right.
But it's meant for a 7-inch screen, so it's 7-inch screen, touch controls. On the screen itself, it has 2 like track pads. So if you want to do like a mouse and keyboard stuff, like you want to play Civ, you could do that.
Yeah.
Has your joysticks, but like actual full joysticks, not these like Joy-Con
right.
like crappy ones. But it's a freaking computer, and they said like if you want to wipe it, like wipe off Linux, put Windows on it, you can
do that.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think? Like, what's the?
Oh man,
I know you guys were a little cool
point?
on it.
It was like
so it's $399 for the 64 gig model. Now
$399.
$399.
I thought I saw something like $800.
It can go up to $800.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So that's the thing is it's competitive in the way that it has the same hard drive space and the same price tag as the. I'm putting air quotes right now, but like a new Switch.
The new Switch.
That has the exact same internals as the original Switch, just a better screen. So if you put it like pound for pound, like this thing's no slouch. Like it's a 8-core, well, it's technically 4-core, 8 threads or something like that. AMD processor. So it's a much more souped up thing. Think like Xbox Series S.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this thing fucking smokes the Switch in terms of internals.
16 gigs of RAM.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
the Series X only has 10. Now, granted, Series X I think has DDR6 or whatever that RAM is versus 5, but still, or 5 versus 4. But the internals on this thing is crazy. Now, granted, it is a little bit bigger. It doesn't look as
aesthetically pleasing, or
but
sure.
Looking at it, it's like it seems to be curved in a way that like. My first thought is I would want to hold it, see what the weight is, see how comfortable it is to actually play on. But, I mean, it's pretty,
dude, it sounds
cool.
sweet.
Yeah.
And, like, the memes that were coming out were just shitting on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like, look at all, like, they would do, like, look at all the things I can do on my handheld computer. And then on the Switch side, it would be like, you can't even get, like, online shit right. You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, no online support for that. And, yeah, that would be cool. I mean, you could do like emulation on that. Like that's wild.
In theory, anything you can do on a computer, you could do on this because it is literally a computer.
The only thing that I keep coming back to when it comes to this is there a market for it? Are people going to buy this? I just don't know because who is this meant for? And anyone who's going to get this already has a PC. True. So are they going to have a need for a handheld PC? I don't know. Yeah. As I know, gamers don't get out too much.
This is my argument that we had at episode
2
or 3 or whatever it was, but
maybe 1.
But my argument is like, how many games have I bought twice? Right, because I wanted a portable version I could play in the living room.
But how many Tylers are out there that have done that?
I would assume there are quite a few.
Maybe
quite a few.
Well,
of us out
then
there.
they shouldn't have a problem because of that does sound like an annoying problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly the most annoying problem is on a Switch you have kind of this gate, right? So like you have a 64 gig thing on Switch now, like that's the new model, and you have a 64 on the Steam Deck. The problem is if you want to put a game on, like I don't know, Destiny or Call of Duty or any of these games,
it's the whole fucking
good
thing.
luck.
Yeah.
It's more than that. It's twice that.
Yeah, Call of Duty's a fuck ton.
Yeah,
but
so that's the kind of the thing. And you can go up. So I think there's a 64 gig, there's 256, and there's 512. Now the difference is the 64 gig has the internal storage, but the
512 for a handheld. Do you ever think you'd see a day where you get those specs on a handheld?
Even then, like I'm shocked we haven't hit terabyte yet. It's just like built in and stuff. Well, but those are the
think back to like
NVMe
when you
drives,
first,
so they're going to be even faster.
Yeah, that's true. Think back to when you were first building like your first PC though. Like those specs on a handheld are just insane.
That's true. I mean, I guess technically even with the Switch, that would be kind of like, although Switch used like old hardware to begin with. Like I guess
Switch would be impressive, but then you see this and you're like, that's the future.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Switch,
am I pre-ordering it? No.
No, yeah.
So
Switch just has the marketing down, dude. Like they have the exclusives, they have the marketing. Like no kid's going to be getting this Steam Deck, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think, but like, I guess my argument would be, for me, it's like, okay, I know what I want it for. I'm going to go sit on the whatever.
Yeah.
But now, if you think about something like our buddy Zach, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a PC and all of that is a little too daunting, right? To go and build your own and everything, and track down parts. He sees everything that our other friends are going through. Just
buy a pre-built.
You can, right? But what I'm saying is like, hey, maybe he just wants to play a game with us on PC,
dip a toe in the water,
right?
That'd be great for
now
Zach.
You
actually,
have, exactly, and you can technically put it in a dock and put it in the TV, and now you have this port. You literally have a Switch, but now
it's just a better Switch.
It's a better Switch. Yeah, that can play everything. Like you can share games. You could do like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that there is like a market kind of like, hey, you want to dip your toe? Like you like the Switch. Just dip your toe in the PC world.
I just think if you have like a more casual gamer, which I'm not talking about Zach, I'm just talking about someone else because I know a lot of people who have Switches are more casual gamers. Yeah. Like they love Legend of Zelda, they'll play the Marios. And you have this thing with the Switch where their lineup of games match well with what their console's trying to do. They have more casual games that easily accessible, any age can play them. And the Switch kind of goes along with that philosophy. That lines up really well. Yeah. Where, the counterpoint to that, where you have this handheld computer pretty much, the Steam Deck, much more independent. It's not as straightforward. It's kind of overwhelming, the options you have. It's not meant for
it can
kids,
be.
really.
Yeah.
It's not... I would like to see how it's implemented, but I can assure you it's not going to be as, neatly laid out as a Switch.
Well, I don't know if you saw the screens on it. Like it looks that way.
I haven't seen anything about it.
If you turn it on and it's essentially it just boots your Steam OS, big titles that you can see, everything's in there just like the Switch is.
Now, does it go directly to the Steam page, or is it its own looking format?
No, I think it goes to like it boots the Steam app every time. So all the other stuff that we're talking about, like do you want to close that out and go into Epic and stuff? Yeah. You have to essentially circumvent, like you actually have to close out Steam and close out everything.
But what would the casual gamer play on that? Like
literally whatever they want. I think that's
what I'm saying. It's so daunting. It's like you're getting a Switch because you want to play Breath of the Wild. You're getting a Switch because you want to play
short of
Mario
those
Golf.
Exclusives though. Like if you look at the Switch and you're saying, "Oh,
that
this is an indie
Switch,
machine." Oh, it is. But the problem is, look at the new Mario Golf that is performing poorly on outdated hardware.
Sure.
Putting those games aside, like obviously Mario Kart, awesome. Breath of the Wild, awesome. Like putting Nintendo's exclusives aside, all the other stuff on Switch you can now get on PC, and the difference is you're not paying that Switch tax. You're getting it for pennies to the dollar.
Yeah.
On all now, all the Steam sales are available to you. Like I can only imagine Zach like looking because he does like he'll go in and he'll look at like other sales and stuff.
Great for Zach. Yeah. All right, I have a hypothetical for you actually.
Hit me.
Which is a little bit off topic, but we're still in the same ballpark. Okay, so if I'm Nintendo and you're I guess Steam's like Valve, right?
Yeah.
And I come to you and I'm like, hey, we want to sell you, some of our property rights to put on Steam at a fucking premium. A, is that a good move by Nintendo? And B, would Valve take that deal? I mean, obviously depending on price, but could you imagine being able to buy Mario games on Steam?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be amazing.
Sounds disgusting profits to me.
This is why Valve is so genius right now, is they're not gating anything. So what can Nintendo do, right? Like, so let's say Nintendo doesn't have, and they do, because it's Nintendo, they have the Switch.
So people can reach out to Valve, but it can't be the other way around. Like, Nintendo's never going to reach out and be like, hey, can we snag, although they kind of do that for... Super Smash Bros, right?
They right, or people go to I don't know the internals
I don't know
on that stuff. But
right.
I guess my thing is like the hope that Valve could have, where it's like, oh, okay, Steam wants to cut into our territory, we're gonna go to Epic and make deals with Epic, whatever those deals are.
Yeah,
The problem, and this is why Valve is so genius, is Valve is like, oh, this is anything. Doesn't matter. So what's Epic going to do? Right?
Yeah, they can open the Epic Game Store. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Right, exactly.
So like you can launch Epic Game Store, you can play a game with them. So like unless Epic starts taking measures to block their, like if it happens to be running on which how would you know it's a PC?
Yeah, they could sue them, I guess.
Valve just has a great. Well, I don't even know if you can do that. Like that'd be
there's always some bullshit, dude.
But that's the thing is just Valve did it such a good move where they're not gating it like Nintendo, like Apple, like all these other ones that are like, oh no, our system is sacred and we can't allow like just free choice, right?
Yeah.
Valve did it where it's like, okay, if you wanted to just power on, play your games, power off, and you're done, you have it.
Yep.
But if you want to explore,
you have the freedom to do that, right? Yeah.
Like that's theoretically, all like this means that now you can play all of like and technically this is what Microsoft's already doing with like their Ultimate thing and streaming their stuff, but like you can play Game Pass games on there, right? Like
dude, I was telling you like you can play emulated games.
Yeah, just literally
you now have a handheld PlayStation 2,
right? I mean, for the folks at home, like the Steam page is crashed right now. Like you can't get on Steam. Yeah,
why is that?
Because everyone is pre-ordering this
thing. Interesting.
Like people cannot do it. And
like the Steam store, you can't even open it right now?
As of, I don't know, 3 o'clock today.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That is actually a subject I wanted to touch on today that kind of relates to it. So, when it comes to a majority of things, I love having choice. You know what I mean? Like where I go to eat, what shoes I can buy. So having a lot of different companies and competition, I think is good generally.
Sure.
But when it comes to games, dude, this is the only facet of life where I hate having to open a different thing, a different, client to play the games. I wish it was all in one place. Yeah. But how do you do that? Like, there's no feasible way to do that because some company has to be in charge of that. Like, I wish everything was on Steam, but that means Valve has to like have the rights to everything in the world.
You have things like GOG Galaxy, which is getting on. So I shit you not, I literally downloaded that today. So it's funny that you bring this up.
Yeah.
But I downloaded that today, and I just imported everything I had. So it's like 1,600 games or whatever across like Ubisoft, Origin, all of them, right? The big difference is right now only Xbox and Epic are, I think they call it like official partners or officially integrated or something like that.
Okay.
So that's like all your Game Pass stuff and everything, and it works really well. But again, the problem is, you have to launch all these second clients. So you have like this one like overarching shell, right? Like you're halfway there.
But then it's opening other ones. See, that just defeats the purpose to me.
And it defeats the purpose because you have, even if you're just going off of Steam, let's say you're a Steam purist, you still are launching Origin, you're still launching Ubisoft.
Yeah, every time I open Mass Effect, I have to launch Origin. So why wouldn't I just open Origin first?
Yeah, and when you think about it, when you download Mass Effect, you play Mass Effect, it launches Origin, that launches a shell, that launches the game. Like,
I know, it's terrible. I hate that. I just want to go to one place where I can get the games, but it's just not realistic.
I mean, you're looking for the DRM free stuff, which, again, GOG is really pushing and doing a great job of it, but the problem is the games aren't there. The people people want control, and they won't see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd be beneficial because there's a lot of people that feel the way we do, where they don't want to open up Origin, they don't want to open up Epic Game Store.
I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how well Epic Game Store plays on something like a Steam Deck, because if then you have this whole new layer where, oh, well, if I have a choice between the two, and even if you have to pay $5 more on Steam because, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's $5 more on Steam than Epic, like, I would do that just for ease of use now.
Yeah, right.
Just because you can play
another genius move on their part.
Like, it's nuts. Like, and now that you're looking at
it's going to flop.
If you look at all the other hardware they put out, I'm right there with you. Yeah. I know Nate felt the same way. Yeah. I can't.
The history is just not there. Like,
VR smashing, like, not VR is a smashing success, but their hardware, very, very good.
Right.
Index, very, very good.
Yeah.
And again, with the touch controls, and like, it's been a long way. Like, the Steam controller, terrible. That being said, it's been a long time. They've had some, time to refine and things like that. Let's see what it looks like.
Right.
IGN put out some early stuff, so they were saying like, oh, the buttons are like the triggers are a little mushy, but they're analog.
The guys who think Grandia 2 is better than Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, right.
Obviously they know everything, and but so like that's going to be interesting to see kind of where the pendulum falls on that. But then you're also looking at the same thing, and not to kind of jump to another thing, but all these people are carving out these sections and talking about like seating control.
Yeah,
we started getting to a point where crossplay was a thing, and everyone was kind of like this kumbaya, like everyone was playing everything.
Yeah.
But now Microsoft threw the gauntlet down. They bought Bethesda for $11 billion, and all that stuff exclusive.
Yep.
Now you have Sony coming in and buying, I think it's Insomniac and whatever.
Now the thing about Microsoft or Xbox, like that whole thing, is that's less offensive to me because it's integrated with Windows.
Sure.
So it's actually much cleaner than something like Epic Games or Origin or something like that. Like,
but
Origin is my least fucking favorite.
But you're still gonna, and we're not gonna see this for a couple years, right? But you're still gonna see the landscape of developers getting divvied up.
Yeah.
And now, this is an exclusive. This is exclusive, and like this is how they bolster their exclusivity. And again,
it sucks because it
Xbox,
just hurts
not
gamers,
so
man. Like that just you're kind of gating. Like I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. That game came out in 2016. Yep. You know what I mean? And it took that long to get onto, and I'm glad it was able to get onto Steam and stuff like that. But another game I played this year was Persona 4. Same thing, right? Like that was, and all these things are like Sony exclusives, I guess. But you see that kind of gatekeeping done a lot in the gaming industry, and it just hurts gamers, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, I don't think there is a gamer out there that. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Console wars are very much alive.
Console wars
people
are alive.
Very toxic.
I guess maybe it hurts us as the PC people specifically.
Dude, I would argue PC has it the best right now, especially with all this other stuff coming out. Like, like you lose out on some exclusives, but give it time. Like,
I hate playing them late though.
Yeah, well, I mean, and
I wish I could play God of War so bad. Like, I wish I could have.
Console manufacturers know that, right? Like they have a line and a chart, and they say like, okay,
it must not be worth financially to put it out, on PC alongside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
release.
sure that all the other, because like if you put it out too soon, then people like does that cannibalize your sales of a console? Because obviously people are going to play it on PC that have a PC and a console.
Yeah,
like if you have both a PC and a console. Usually, I would say I would be willing to wait up to a year to play something.
Sure,
on PC. Yeah, versus a
I don't know. Do you think it really cannibalizes them that much if they just release it at the same time?
I would say so, because then why? Like look at Xbox, and Xbox is in a unique position because they have the Game Pass, so it kind of like supplements some of that.
Right, sure.
But there's a reason why I won't care about an Xbox. I mean, I guess with the exception,
there's a reason you have dreams about getting a PS5 and not
right, but
Xbox,
everything on Xbox is also on PC.
Yeah,
the only reason why I would even entertain the thought of getting an Xbox is if my PC is so old that it can't run games at 60 frames per second, and the Series X just happens to.
I mean, we're kind of getting to the point though where it's like these new gen of the systems are getting close to computer status. If not already there.
Yeah, I would argue a lot of them are already there.
The consoles that we have now, the technology inside them are.
But that goes back to choice, right? Like I would always choose to stabilize my frame rate at a higher click,
right? Yeah,
than having something
locked.
that's like 4K ray tracing, all that jazz. And they do give options in the thing, but it's this.
It's not as expensive.
Oh, we targeted or we unlocked it. Like
right.
I want to have granular control to make it exactly how I want it.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking for, and that's why I come to PC.
Yeah.
But again, you don't necessarily need that. If all you care about, and going back to the Steam Deck, is like if you care about playing at 60 frames per second on your screen, which is a 720 resolution screen, which the hardware should have no problem pushing.
That's fine. Yeah.
You're perfect. You just know that this system will run everything at twice or more the frame rate of the Switch. Like you said.
It's all about implementation, and it's got to be easy use. Like if you're doing a handheld system, the interface has to be easy. And
it looks easy. I mean, like it even has the touch.
Like I said, I didn't look at anything. It could very well be that way. And what I was seeing online, all the memes were shitting on the Switch, right? So
yeah, I mean,
people
it looks so similar to Switch.
Better.
Yeah, it looks more complex. I'll give it that. It's not as clean as the Switch.
Yeah,
but that's because it can do
Well, that's what I'm saying.
More.
It's got way more horsepower than the Switch.
I mean, it has the store integrated into it, right? So like you don't have to like go to a completely different app. It takes
and how
to
shit
load
is that?
and
Yeah, exactly, right? Like just awful on the Switch. So
yeah, I mean, if nothing else, this is going to push Nintendo to do something else. It's just how like what do you put out now? I think that's the true question. Is your your again air quotes new Switch isn't even out yet. That's coming out in what?
That's
October.
what I'm saying. Like they're boned.
Yeah,
this was a death blow by Valve. I mean, talk about perfect timing, man. They really fucked them up.
I mean, you always have the Japan and China and everything else to kind of like bolster that because I mean, you're always going to have more Switches.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. No,
I mean, that's why Vita's still around, right?
Yep.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of faith.
Do you want to take a break and then we're a little bit over an hour and then come back and answer some questions?
Cool.
All right.
And welcome back. So we do have a couple questions again. We want to make this a reoccurring segment.
Thanks for everyone writing in.
I really appreciate all the questions. I think we have 2 today.
We have I got 3 on my end.
Oh,
plus
really?
1. We
just one call in. Okay.
Yeah, I got some on the Facebooks.
Awesome. Yeah.
If you have a question, write into podcast@couchcompany.games.
Or go to anchor.fm/couch company. You can leave a message there, a voice message. So
much like this one.
Hey guys, friend of the show, Calvin. Been mentioned once or twice on here. My question is, if you could revive any dead game, what would it be and why? And when I say dead game, I mean like one that's been taken offline, like Infinite Crisis. And I also mean ones that have like just, incredibly small player bases. Oh, I'm still recording. Oh, shoot.
Thank you for the question, Calvin, friend of the show. Great question.
That's a very good question. I think my answer is going to be very obvious, so I'll let you go first.
Right, crazy. He did mention.
Oh, no, not Titanfall 2. Star Wars Galaxies Online.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, we'll get back. Go ahead.
Titanfall 2 though might be up there for you, right?
Yeah, but it's available. You can still play it.
Well, he said very small player bases as well.
Yeah, but I mean, Titanfall 2 has a bigger player base than Star Wars Galaxies Online.
Okay, fair enough. So this is an interesting question. Right off he did actually mention Infinite Crisis. For people who don't know, that was a what's it called? Dude, what's League? I can't even think of the term. What kind of game it is?
Like a MOBA?
MOBA, yes, thank you. I was going to say MMO because I always had Star Wars Galaxy.
What does MOBA stand for?
Multiplayer Online Battle Arena.
Yes, good job.
Wow, just was
okay,
what is
M stand for? Watching the words go into your brain.
All right, my brain is fried at this point. Let's get it. Too much pizza talk, man. I'm actually starving for pizza.
Yeah, we will get pizza.
We will get pizza, by the way. Yeah. We're going to see if they have artichoke hearts. But back on topic.
Almost guarantee they don't, but
probably.
Yeah.
Wish us luck. Anyways, so reviving dead games. He mentioned Infinite Crisis. For those of you who do not know, It was a MOBA based off of DC superheroes. So I was really into DC back in the day, so I saw that game, and that's actually what got me into MOBA. So I played that first, and then I went to League. Funny enough, Calvin's the person I got into that with, so... nice throwback there. I really appreciate that. So that's definitely a possibility. But honestly, the first thing that came to my head was I think it's Call of Duty 4. Like, COD 4 was so fucking fun, man.
Yeah, I know. I can see that. So are you talking like the original, not the because they came out with the remake?
They did come out with that remake. I'm talking about the original because, like, the way I'm understanding this question, it's like, you can restore it to its heyday.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess I might be interpreting a lot there, but that's just the way I'm going to take it.
Do you think so? Does that make sense? And I probably already know your answer here. Like with all of the new maps coming out for Modern Warfare and stuff, like, do you think there's going to be as big of a demand there for the original? Like, do you think people would want to go back?
I don't know. I mean, like I was talking to you about before, even the remake and stuff felt different than the original.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
You're just never going to get that time ever
so
again.
For you want it to be like whenever I hear revive, I'm looking for some improvements too. But so I mean, that's just me personally. On
the way I was taking the question was like, if you could revive it to the state it was at its best point, at its apex.
Yeah, sure.
What would it be? And for me, it would be either COD 4, even Modern Warfare 2, which is more like my era.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, buddy.
Well, yeah, sorry. No, I played COD 4.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Other thoughts were, like all the games that I'm thinking of are actually still, like their series are still alive today. So like something like Halo, like Infinite's coming out and stuff. Yeah. So that's not really a good answer either. Maybe something like Bad Company 2 as well, because those are the fucking days, man. Like Bad Company 2 is actually, that might be something. So there's like a lot of things in my head. So I'd have to narrow those down. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, so I'm going to give you...
Because you have like just definitive, right?
Well, Star Wars Galaxy Online.
Right.
I think that there is a place for that. Ironically, I think there's more of a place for that now than there was back then, which is kind of nuts. Like okay. I think people's tastes have evolved, or their acceptance of other genres have evolved so much that I think if we're talking the original before they kind of ruined it with the whole 2.0 and Next or whatever they call it, I would love to see that revived, but revived in a way of like bring up modern graphics, bring up modern, that kind of thing. Yeah,
your take's a little bit different than mine.
Yeah. So I think that's one. In terms of a game that just unfortunately died. Like this is kind of a two-parter. I don't know if you ever played the game Blur.
No.
That studio closed down. I assume those servers are long gone.
Right.
Very, very, very fun. It's like Mario Kart, but with real cars. Super fun.
I've heard of Blur, yeah.
And then there's a game called Mod Nation Racers, where you literally would make your character. Like you could literally make your character. You get unlocks and stuff.
Yeah.
And you made that. You made your tracks and you made your carts. And I honestly, out of everything, that would be the one game that I want to see revive.
Interesting.
I don't know what's up with me in carts right now, just because that's where my brain is.
List a bunch of card games.
I would love to see Twisted Metal come back.
Okay,
sure. I think there's a place for that. I think that they need to go almost like take one and just Twisted Metal remastered.
I think there would be a big demand for that. Those games were really popular back in the day.
But the original ones, none of the new stuff of like any driver can take any car and like all that kind of BS. Like take the original stuff.
The formula worked.
I think that would be fantastic, and I would love to see another official Army Men and reboot that series. Get a kind of soft reboot.
There you
go. Those would be kind of my main
Splinter
ones.
Cell.
I mean Splinter Cell you could still play and stuff, and like that's not really the multiplayer side of it. But
yeah, I guess those didn't really have that.
And me personally, I didn't like short of the co-op stuff.
I just had another one. So I guess I'll list maybe a couple. So the more I think about it,
and Warcraft 3.
There you go. They I think I heard they did something with that. No. I'm just imagining that. Yeah, you're probably right. They would never mess that up. Right?
No,
such a beloved game.
Yeah, it's a perfect game.
Okay, so the more I think about it, my finalists are Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Okay.
And I would like graphics updated on that. I think you can improve some things with that, like better textures and things in terms of better. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you just put in better assets, Frostbite engine, you'll be fine.
Exactly, right?
Sure.
Because like I was saying, like when we're talking about first-person shooters, everything was destructible, but you had like these assets where like all the warehouses looked like the same and stuff because they're just, cardboard. Right. So I like, maybe having the same physics in that game, but making everything look nicer, different, more unique, things like that. Because it looks like you're just like in a sandbox and you're like warehouse here, warehouse
just
here,
like copy paste,
which makes sense because everything can blow up. So why would you spend your time making something nice? I'm going off track here. Bad Company 2, and then Infinite Crisis, like Calvin said, and then my third one would be Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Brotherhood, the online.
Yeah,
wow, was that fucking fun?
Is that offline?
I don't know.
We should really check that.
Me and Calvin actually tried that years ago and found a game after waiting like 10 minutes. So the player base is definitely super small.
Oh yeah, but the beauty is we just wouldn't play. Like we would just be dealing. Like
that would be a great. Yeah, that'd be a great couch company game.
We might need to.
Oh, that's a great idea. That game would be fun. So unique. Fucking it was just because that was the first person shooter era. And just to have that, breath of fresh air was something totally different. So fun, yeah. definitely that's a strong contender. So those are my top 3.
Nice. Cool.
Excellent.
Do you have?
Let me hit you with my question now. I don't think I wrote it down, but it's pretty straightforward.
Okay,
this comes from my friend David. Thank you, David, for sending in this question. Really appreciate it. He asks us what our favorite universes. This is kind of a
favorite universe.
Yeah. So the way I interpreted it is not like if you had to live in it or anything, just like the one you'd like the most. So ones he brought up was like the Marvel Universe, Star Wars, Tolkien, things like that. So any kind of series like that. Harry Potter is another one. This one was tough for me. I think I know what it is, so I can go first if you need to think about it.
Yeah, go for it.
Right off the bat, the first thing that always jumps into my mind, the world that I love so much, is Mass Effect.
Yep.
We're talking about a game where I would literally sit down and read the codex. Like, I don't do that for any game, dude, but I love this world so much where I love learning about the different planets, different species, the history, everything like that, the technology, because they did it so well.
Right.
Like, you remember when you would, like, you can go around in that game, like, just press things on your ship and then your codex would update, and it's just like, it just goes into these, like, fucking paragraphs about combustion, turbo, hyperspace engines and fuel capacities and all this bullshit that sounds like so real. Like, it's just
but somebody
insane.
Went in and took the time to
That's
write
what I'm saying.
all of that.
And made it sound like this exists.
Yep.
Like this is how this works. This is how a hypersleep chamber works. And flux capacitors and things like that. Like it's not just like that. You know how you get like that classic bullshit sometimes where it's like, they just start throwing stupid terms at you and stuff, like quantum mechanics and blah blah blah, and that's how this works. It actually is written up so well. So
yeah, that's
my first answer. I love that so much. The Mass Effect universe.
That was your first answer. You have a second?
Oh yeah, if I had to do like 3 off the top of my head right now, so that would be 1. Harry Potter, I love a lot.
Sure.
And that might be recency bias because I just watched all of those recently. But I mean, what J.K. Rowling does so well in those is like, you just fantasize about, oh man, what if I was able to do that? Like, this would make my life so much easier. Like, man, I wish I could cast a spell like that. That's what's so appealing about it, because you're like, man, wouldn't this be so cool if I was in this environment or something like that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why that appeals to me too. You get like these fantasy elements with that, but it's more mixed with realism as well. It's not just straight like fantasy and craziness like that. So I do appreciate that, and I like the school element too. Like, that's all good stuff. And then the third one, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have a third one. Like, obviously Star Wars is great. I'd probably go with something like Star Wars. I just like the sci-fi a lot. And
yeah, I mean, I think my answer should be Mass Effect, but the more I think about it, and if we're not talking about like what universe would you rather live in, like if I just am interested in the lore and enjoy,
although
like
I will say, if I had to live in, it might be Mass Effect as well.
I think it would be Mass Effect, either Mass Effect or Star
Wars. When are we living in it? Because if the Reapers are thing,
everything's hunky dory. It's all good. Yeah.
If things are normal, Mass Effect's
I would cool probably pick Star Wars to live in. I think at that point.
Really?
Yeah, because I think
there's always a war going on.
Yeah, but I would probably just live in some outer fringe.
Sure.
I would be the guy on Tatooine that just lives on Tatooine and dies on Tatooine and never leaves the
I feel like
planet.
you'd be so bored.
Yeah.
You like technology and stuff, though.
I do.
And Mass Effect has all that. Like, we could still play video games in the Mass Effect universe.
Yeah, but then the Reapers.
Yeah, but we're saying that, this is post-Reaper.
One day we're playing video games. The next day we're getting collected and put into a giant humanoid robot thing.
What's the span of Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3? How many years do we have to live?
Not many.
Not many, no.
But I guess my ultimate universe would actually be Warcraft.
Warcraft,
in terms of the lore and the characters and everything.
Like, I forgot League of Legends.
Yeah, sure.
That's a whole unit. Yeah, that's definitely that would be my third. That replaces Star Wars.
Yeah, fair enough.
Actually, I should probably replace Harry Potter too. The more I think about it, can Harry Potter really be in my top 3 favorite universes?
I mean,
no. Okay, I have it. I have the new list. Okay, sorry.
Here we go.
It's top 3. Harry Potter gets kicked. It is Mass Effect.
Yep.
It is League of Legends, obviously, because it does have a universe, and it is DC animated universe. So that's
cool. Yeah.
Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, all those things.
Yeah.
Those are like my favorites, man. I love that because those are my favorite iterations of those characters.
I mean, that's a solid list. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
So those are my top 3. Your top 3.
Warcraft.
Oh, did you already say them?
No, I mean, like, no, I would say Warcraft.
Yeah.
And then I would probably go.
That's interesting. Because you like know all the lore and stuff about Warcraft.
And like I'm not up on the newest stuff, but I'm talking like Warcraft, like the books and stuff that go into Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, like specifically that era. I absolutely love. I would probably go Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and be pretty generic there.
Interesting.
I keep thinking about how much I liked like the Game of Thrones, like politics and things like that. And I thought that was actually pretty good, almost to the point of like, does that actually replace like Lord of the Rings for me?
Wow. So I will say,
I'm going to say no out of nostalgia.
Yeah.
But it's close because I like the kind of cerebral aspect of it.
I was going to say David, who asked the question. Thank you, David. Huge Lord of the Rings fan, so that's probably what he would pick. Are you a big Lord of the Rings guy? Like how?
Yeah, I used to read the books once a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you and him should definitely. I was gonna say like, man, we should get David on for a Lord of the Rings podcast because he would fucking. He was like talking to me. He's like, yeah, mine would probably be Lord of the Rings. Like, man, and he was like talking to me. He's like, man, did you ever see like the Second Age and stuff? And I'm like, bro, I watched the movies. Like, that's all I know. But I don't know.
Lord of the Rings is fantastic. I mean, to be fair, like honestly,
great world.
like even
Tolkien's so good at world building, right? Like
absolutely. Like, but you can do that with anything. Like, if you have the series of books, even like with The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe, and all of those, like
that's a good one too.
Like C.S. Lewis has just as good of
C.S. Lewis is a
universe,
fucking
you know?
G, yeah, he's really good too. But
a
great
lot of
question.
good stuff out there.
I love getting lost in those kind of conversations. I mean, you know, Cowboy Bebop, what a great universe that is, and we don't even get to taste it really.
Oh, absolutely.
How much
I mean, even like Cyberpunk had the potential to do that stuff.
Right? You know my feelings on it. I do like Cyberpunk. I had a lot of fun with that. But thanks, David, for that one. Let's get to the next question.
So we have, while I'm looking up the other couple questions, because we got a couple from Abby, we have a question from Zach. It's a simple question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Vampire Rain?
Vampire Rain?
Yeah, I did the rain, as in like a question mark at the end.
Right, no, I got you.
Yeah, have you ever, do you know what Vampire Rain is?
No.
So it's let me put it on paper for you. It's a stealth action
Oh, is it a game?
It's a game.
Oh.
Yeah. Stealth action vampires.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it does.
Wait, this exists?
It exists. It was for the Xbox 360. So this was,
it's an old game. Okay.
He puts this out there as a kind of a joke. So when I worked at GameStop,
I thought he was asking me to play it with him.
No, this is a very, very, very bad game. It got like a 3.0 Metacritic.
Gotcha.
I think IGN gave it like a 2.8 or something.
Yikes!
I'm paraphrasing, but like their subtitles. So it's like Vampire Rain, like the review or whatever.
But IGN puts it above Devil May Cry on the list of
and Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. So, but it said like. It's something along the lines of like it's blood isn't the only thing this sucks or something like that. Like it's just it was really, really bad.
Nice.
And it came out with another one on I believe the PS3. It was like some offshoot that got like a 1/10 of a point higher.
Oh,
so
man,
very, very bad game. But
okay.
So my ongoing gag there was how many copies of Vampire Rain could I sell to people coming into GameStop?
There's something wrong with you.
There is, but I only, to be fair, I did have some rules. I only sold it to just really like either annoying piece. Yeah, like so like someone will come in drunk. Like there's a guy that came in like super drunk and was just like, "What game do I want?" And I was like, "Oh, Vampire Rain is really good," and like sold it to him, kept the receipt and all that stuff. Like that. So that was kind of the ongoing gag. So thank you, Zach, for the.
I guess my answer is no.
Definitively.
Yeah. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Let me bring up a couple questions. One I think we already touched on. So this should be fairly brief. But this comes in from Abby here. Sorry, Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. All right. So Abby's first question: what's the first game you played you got really into gaming? And then what was special about that game?
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Abby. Great question. I believe we did touch on this in our first episode when we were talking about kind of our intro to gaming.
Episode 2.
Maybe episode 2.
It was on that one, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Spyro for me. I think that's what I said previously as well. I would spend all day just playing Spyro because I was at that point in life where I wasn't going to school yet, I don't think. And what I loved about that game is it was just like this big open world. I think, I'm trying to remember back in the day, didn't that game look really good? Or am I just imagining things?
I mean, I thought like it looked good for
Look, I was
time.
really young.
Yeah.
I was super young, right? So like me flaming a cactus and it would like turn black and stuff and then shake it off. Like I loved that shit. I would do that for like
yes,
it
looked
like that.
good for the time. I mean, like it was PlayStation, right? It was the best game.
Yeah.
out there.
So what made it special? What was special about it for me was just like the fact that I could, just run around in this open environment and just do all these wacky things. Like I said, like flaming these cacti and just horn charging people and doing all this crazy shit and seeing like where the highest point is on the map. Like I would do like these stupid things and just like gliding all over the place. So that's what really got me into gaming because I just loved that feeling so much that I wanted more of that, right? Like I just loved losing myself in that environment.
Don't go back to episode 2 and fact check me here, but I believe when I said was like the Mario Duck Hunt game.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes down from that was a hand-me-down. That was the only game we had. We played it. That's what got me into.
Isn't that what Nate said?
Gaming. Yeah, we both had the same.
Oh,
same
you
one,
both had the same one. I was like, yeah.
The more I thought about Abby's question though is like what got you into gaming or like what part of it got you into gaming. I think the game Mario was like, oh, this is fun. This is something to do on the TV. That was fun to me. But whenever I played the original Warcraft on, I think it was like a Windows 95 machine or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that was the one that clicked where it was like, oh, this is a video game, but the possibilities are endless. Where it's just like, oh, I can set this to do whatever I want, or this can be so expansive. And it was kind of that awe of like, oh, I'm very, very small in this like kind of world or how the game is. And like, it's Mario is very much like get from point A to point B. And it's just like you do it enough times, you beat it and whatever. Sure. Where Warcraft, it kind of unlocked that, I can play this infinitely.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, that's a big eye opener, right? Like,
yeah, it's just like there are other games out there besides Mario or like just platformers and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. No, that's a fair point.
And then of course my cousins had a lot to do with that, right? So like whenever I played Tekken, I only played Tekken because my cousins played Tekken. Yeah, I thought that was cool. So, okay, and then last question is, what's the first game you played? Nope. Hold on.
Well,
second
Abby,
question. What's the first game you played? Okay. Alternate question.
Yep.
Have you gone out of your way to play a game just for a voice actor? Which is, I think, is super interesting.
Oh, wow.
And then secondly, has voice acting ever ruined a game for you?
Great questions. Wow. Have I ever gone out of my way for a voice actor? You know what? Actually, a recent example of that is and I can't do it, unfortunately, because I don't have a fucking PlayStation like we talked about before.
Yeah.
The new Ratchet and Clank, the new girl that's in that game is Femship, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, dude,
that's cool.
Yeah. I was like, I kind of want to play this just for her because she's like the new main character, not the new main character, but the side main
Jennifer Hale.
Jennifer Hale, yeah,
famous for Elena from Grandia 2.
Her best role.
Yeah.
But that is the first thing that came to mind for some reason because I was like, man, that's so sweet. Man, I'm trying to think of my favorite voice actors. I don't know if I ever go out of my way to play a game because of the voice actors. I just kind of am happily surprised when I start making those connections like I was talking to you about before. Red 13 is in Persona 5 and he's Ryuji in Persona 5 and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I had one that came to mind. And this is a little weird, and I know how much of like a Batman fan I am.
Yeah,
so, like,
right.
Up to Arkham Asylum.
Yep.
Batman games were like fine, but I honestly, the only one I ever played was Batman Forever for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
I don't think that was a very good
Probably not.
game.
Probably
right?
not.
So when it comes to Batman and games, in all honesty, any type of comic book characters, media, or like movie tie-ins and things like that, like up to that point, none of them were very good. Like I think you had like a Batman Begins game if I remember correctly and stuff. I had zero desire to play any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got my issue of Game Informer one month, and it was literally talking about Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw that it was pulling in Kevin Conroy,
boom,
Mark Hamill,
yep,
and it was just like, holy, like
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool,
it's a
like
must, yeah,
and like there's a lot more to it, right? Like if the game sucked, that could like it would still be a bad game,
right?
The fact that game was so amazing, and we had a demo in the GameStop store, so we would be like playing the combat, and then they released the demo for like the stealth sequences and things like that, and then you just add those voice actors to it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, that's what a star-studded cast.
It went from like mild, like, oh, they're making a Batman game that's not really tied to anything, like it's its own universe, because like, yeah, whatever, to just like, I must play this. Like, I can't think of another game that I was so absolutely psyched and jazzed for, because like that was my childhood coming to life in an amazing game, and it was fantastic.
And the games were great too.
It's great.
What an amazing and another thing that came to mind when I was thinking about the question as well, the first part of the question, the second one's a little bit different, but the Final Fantasy VII remake, man, like that is part of the reason, I think, because like I've said my experience with this several times, I'm sure, on the show, but like I watched someone play, like I watched the Let's Play of the remake because I don't have a fucking PlayStation again. But man, that's like part, and I never played any of the Final Fantasy. Like I played Final Fantasy X, but I never played Final Fantasy VII before that, and that's part of the reason that kind of sucked me in. The voice acting was so superb in that, like. So I don't know if that counts. That's a little bit of a different angle on that, but I will be playing that heavily due to that fact of the voice acting in that is top tier. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, I am, again, super excited whenever that decides to.
Saitama is Red 13.
Yeah, like that's.
But
that alone is really cool.
The second half of the question was did voice acting ever ruin a game for you? Yes, for me. So
if you say Grandia 2, I'm going to cry.
I was thinking about saying Grandia 2, but you beat me to the punch. But no, I actually have a real example of this. So I don't know if you are familiar with an arcade. Us older folks used to go to
like
those
an arcade video game machine? Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever played the House of the Dead games?
Yeah.
Yeah, so back in the day when you'd go to like the arcade and stuff and you'd shoot the light pistols and everything, the House of the Dead games were like so much fun. And I had a blast playing them. And I remember that you could get that on like PlayStation 2, I think, one of them. And in the arcade, everything's really loud, and I'm like, they have the sound effects, but I don't think you can hear the voice acting in the games because everything's like, there's so many things going off in the arcade, right?
Sure.
Like you can't really hear that. So I was like, man, this game's so fucking fun and sweet and stuff. I did not realize that those games have the worst voice acting ever created. They are just, it's like these people don't know how to speak English, man.
Yeah.
It is so bad. It is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
You need to, so there's a game called Typing of the Dead, which is very much in the same vein of that. Like,
I've
it's
seen that.
very, very bad. But those are, I think that's like the ongoing joke, right? Like, even if you come out with like a new one with like all the best graphics and stuff, it still has to have just very bad.
They remastered, I think they're remastering it, or they did. Because I was seeing something about it, and they kept the really shitty
that's awesome
voice acting.
I think
it's just like a rite of passage.
Yeah,
right.
Have to do it.
But I remember back in the day, I had no idea. So I thought it was going to be a normal game, right? Like, I was like, man, this is going to be so sweet and playing it on my PlayStation. And it was like,
I can finally see the story.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, man. And like, I pieced together the story by playing it, but wow. It was a shock to see. Like, anyone listening, go listen to House of the Dead 2. It is just abysmal. It is the worst voice acting I might have ever heard in my entire life.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Like, so I don't have one to that effect. Like, a game hasn't been necessarily ruined, right?
Sure.
I think the closest thing that I can think of.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it Batman Origins?
No. Tell you what. In a way, yes.
Okay.
And I was actually going to bring this up. But
that's the vein I was thinking. Yeah.
So Batman Origins, yes, but during one of the comic panels before the game came out. They got Troy Baker, who does the voice of Joker, because Mark Hamill didn't do it. Troy Baker went in, and they actually had him read a passage from Killing Joke, and it was like, oh, this is very good.
Yeah.
Like that was enough to kind of sway me back into it. And like Troy Baker's extremely talented.
No, he's amazing. Yeah.
Again, and I think we talked about this already, but if you put him right next to Mark Hamill doing again the voice that Mark Hamill came up with, like. doesn't
can't
compare,
do it. You can't
but
do
it's
it.
close. The one that I was going to say would be Splinter Cell Blacklist. So whenever Michael Ironside got booted from the not booted, but like they're like, oh, we have to do motion capture and stuff. We find out that Michael Ironside had cancer and all that stuff. Like, so like there was a lot of backlash there, and in the background of mind, it's like, oh, it's like, how can you pull Michael Ironside off of Sam Fisher? He is Sam
Fisher, exactly.
I mean, but again, did it ruin the game for me? No, the game was awesome. Yeah. So like, am I upset that he wasn't in it? Yes, but it is what it is. But then similarly, thank you. I really need pizza. Whenever he came into I think it's like Wildlands or something, not Wildlands, maybe whatever the Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon. I'm sorry. Ghost Recon. Wildlands. I'm getting there. Sorry.
I was trying to follow.
They brought him in as like a DLC character,
right,
extra.
Right.
Super jazzed because again they got Michael Ironside to come in for that part, and
one.
That was awesome. So I think thank you, Abby, for both of those questions. That was
great
awesome.
questions. Yeah.
But I think ultimately, like, does it make you psyched? Yes. I don't think I would ever not play a game because I hate a voice actor, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think you can call
the
out.
voice acting has to be, it's tough, right? Because it would be hard for, my circumstance was super, like, rare. Because I never heard the audio before, but the game was fun. And then it was just a fucking shock, man. Like jumping into a pool full of ice.
I'm trying to think of something like recent, and the only one I think of just off the top of my head would be like a Ronda Rousey in Mortal Kombat 11. Like she was terrible.
What came to my head too is one of the most recent NBA games. They got the actual players to voice themselves. And
really?
You should look this up on YouTube. It is hilarious.
Yeah.
Now I didn't play it, but I could see how that. Because, they're making these real shitty career modes and stuff where you make your player and you're in the league and stuff and you're talking to LeBron James. But, man, can they not voice act at all. For anyone who thinks voice acting is easy, watch these fucking videos. These guys who get paid millions of dollars try to read a script.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. Great content.
Yeah. Awesome.
No, it's so funny. But, yeah, I think on that note.
That's it.
I think that's
it.
Let's
get some pizza, man.
Let's get some fucking pizza. Thank you, everyone who submitted a question, and everyone else who is just along for the ride. We really appreciate it. We have like 10 concurrent viewers, so super exciting.
We're up to 12 now, so that's a pretty big thing.
So just a couple things Couch Company's doing here. You can always catch us on anchor.fm/Couch Company. Any place that has a podcast, we're pretty much on there. Leave us a voice message if you go on Anchor. We would love to hear from you guys. Also, we have a Twitch. You can check out my Twitch at JohnXP1290 at twitch.tv. We've been playing Grandia 2. We play some balloons on there sometimes. If any of you guys play balloons, we got a 4th slot open, so that would be fun. We're just having a good time on there. So come check us out. Come say hi. We would love to have you there. And thanks for joining us again. We'll be back here same time, same place next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch.